Survive will continue to follow the story as it develops. In other news, the Antiguan government has said no action is necessary after one of Antigua and Barbuda's investors was arrested. However, former senator of the Barbuda People's Movement, Mackenzie Frank, is calling for the lease of almost 1,000 acres of Barbuda lands to be scrapped. Last week, 43-year-old British businessman Peter Verdi was arrested at Gatwick Airport under the European arrest warrant on behalf of the German authorities in connection with an alleged £1 million tax scam where he is accused of being the mastermind. Verdi was named as an investor in an almost 1,000-acre development in Barbuda, and his company built and installed the solar power plant at the VC Bird International Airport. And the gunman has killed 5 people at a club hosting an electronic music festival in the Mexican resort of Playa del Carmen in Quintana Roo State. Among those killed are 2 Canadians, an Italian and a Colombian citizen, Quintana Roo Attorney General said. The 5th victim was a woman who died in the stampede which followed the shooting, he said. The shooting happened at the Blue Parrot Club hosting the BPM festival. And this concludes your lunchtime news update, brought to you compliments Fresh Vitamins. I'm Linda Martin. Do join us again at 4 for the Prime Evening News Update. Good afternoon.
At Fresh Vitamins, we've got everything you need for health and well-being. We carry a wide range of all-natural sports nutrition and health supplements, plus gluten-free and organic foods, all from quality brands, including Solaray, Cal, Bob's Red Mill, Nature's Way, Source Naturals, and Decide Away. Fresh Vitamins has 2 convenient locations. We're at number 7, Great George Street, Roseau, and we're in Portsmouth, inside IGA Whitchurch Supermarket. Join our discount club and save up to 20% every day on your purchases. Like us on Facebook to stay informed about our products and specials. Come into Fresh Vitamins today and get healthy. Get healthy.
Good afternoon. We'll be engaging, of course, talking to Carl John Baptist in a short while as to what went on at the courts this morning regarding the murder charges. And I'm hearing too that there's also some development. I read a shooting in a gutter last evening. But before that, we have a lot to talk about as it relates to the CBI program. Thompson Fontaine is in the house. On the line with me from Washington, Attorney at Law Dominican, U.S. base, Mr. Gabriel Christian. So we have a packed program ahead. If it's on the block, we'll talk about it. But first of all, I want to say good afternoon to Mr. Gabriel Christian on the line from Washington, D.C. there. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Matt, and good afternoon to all of Dominica. As you know, today we celebrate and remember Martin Luther King. Dr. King's birthday has been celebrated today, and I'm happy that we played our part in the early 1980s to rally people for that cause, because he was a great American. And I remember his death. I was in the mixed school in 1968 when he was killed, and I remember his death very well. It was mourned on Dominica as if a Dominican had died, for those of us who are that age. So thanks for calling, and I'm happy that we are here today to still try to live in his spirit.
Gabriel Christian, I have been referred, by many today to comments you made on Facebook about the CBI program. Of course, a lot of discussion, a lot of talk about this very interesting, if you will, CBI program there by the government of Dominica. But apparently you have some concerns about it, and I've been told that you gave some advice some years ago because of your own concerns.
Well, listen, this is nothing new. We, back in 1992, when Irvin Andre and I did In Search of Eden, it was a freedom by the government. We had concerns about the program that they started later on, which was to attract people from Hong Kong. When the UWP government came in, as you know, there were several Chinese caught in Canada. And as a result of that, visa restrictions were imposed, and the government of Rosie Douglas stopped shortly for a bit. After attaining office, they stopped the program because of the concerns of people who were of ill repute or who may otherwise besmirch the country's reputation. Subsequent to that, we know that myself, Master Gregoire Thompson Fontaine, Dr. Emmanuel Finn, and others, we were joined later by our good friend, Mr. Brisbane, Jerry Brisbane, called for an end to the appointment of persons of ill repute. We knew at some point in time, it was only a matter of time, because every rope has an end, that the international community would begin to investigate those things. And so CBS 60 Minutes, on my birthday, which is January 1st, reported not only on the CBI program in Dominica, but in the other islands, but in particular Dominica, which really has an egregious record that we should be all ashamed of as Dominicans, where we have well-intended, intelligent, and bright Dominicans all over the world. Our government has sought to appoint people who have later been arrested, and the only times that we knew they were diplomats, like Lap Seng, was when they were arrested. That Kerala was a diplomat, or had been appointed, or they attempted to appoint him as a diplomat after he was arrested, and on and on. And so the same thing with Ms. Maduke, the Nigerian, after she was arrested. So all I have said is what we've said before. We need now, as a intelligent people in a democracy, to call the government, which is our servant. The government of Dominica is not our master, man. The government of Dominica, as duly constituted, is a servant of the people. And when the government is asked to account for its actions, the government then cannot deny its responsibility to account and dismiss and say to its questioners, its critiques, or those who are Dominicans, that it cannot and it will not account. The government must be compelled to account via a commission of inquiry, which is our tradition, for the sale of diplomatic positions, if any, who has diplomatic passports, for what purpose those passports were given, what was the due diligence done before making those appointments of Lapsang, Maduke, Bosing, Corallo, and all the others, whether any monies were paid, if any monies were paid, where those monies were in fact utilized, right? We need the names of all agents selling passports all over the world. We need to see their contracts. We need to know how they're compensated. We need to know that the monies are lodged in Dominican banks and how those monies are spent. That is the kind of basic accountability that is needed in a democracy. Dominica has an obligation under the United Nations law and the Community of Nations to which it belongs in CARICOM, the Organization of American States, to do right by the standards and practices that are normative. Okay? The fact of the matter is, Jamaica doesn't have such a record. Grenada does not have such a record of appointing people as have been appointed and who've been later arrested. Why Dominica? Is it not high time for Dominicans as a responsible, intelligent people to understand that something is wrong, is terribly wrong, and it's not about Lennox Linton and the UWP. The fact is, the UWP is not in office. The office holder, led by Roosevelt Skerritt, is the Dominican Labour Party government. And that's the government that must account. It's not CBS 60 Minutes. CBS is a news organization. The UWP is an opposition. But the government of Dominica, as the duly constituted government, owes an obligation to the citizens over whom it rules. And when it fails repeatedly, and I want to let you know publicly, that I believe that one has earned the right to criticize by being a responsible citizen. We have sought to bring investment to Dominica. We've brought people to Dominica to invest in Dominica and have met with the government about the CBI program, and I have actually recommended ways in which the program can be improved by insisting, for instance, that the government put the money in the National Bank, by insisting, for instance, that the money be spent on projects like airlines and factories and things that can, in fact, create economic enterprise on the island and benefit our citizens, not just a few. Mark, it is not my opinion, but an opinion increasingly shared, that the people who are benefiting from that program primarily are government agents, government cronies, and cronies of the Dominica Labour Party.
Hold that thought there, Gabor. Of course, we've heard from Dr. Vince Anderson, and we've heard from Senior Counsel Tony Asafan, and they have criticized the opposition leader for coming and going to talk to the CBS 60 Minutes. Let me allow you to listen. I'm sure you have heard some of this, but let me allow you to listen for 2 minutes on some of the comments that have been made. And as a matter of fact, it has been said that the leader of the opposition party, the leader of the opposition party, is washing Dominica's dirty linen on the outside. Let's listen for a minute here.
Well, let me tell you what my honest view is. Lennox Linton is a pathological liar. He's a saboteur, and he's a traitor to the country.
All right. Now, we've heard Mr. Tony Asafan. Now, let's listen to Dr. Vince Anderson.
So the point I'm making is the same way our offshore financial services sector was disseminated because it was destroyed totally, because those developed countries just decided that they don't want us to have this sector. Mm-hmm. Now, the same way they can destroy our citizenship by investment program. So when the leader of the opposition, the parliamentary loyal opposition in a country, goes on to an international television network in an interview and attack our program, attack Dominica like the way that Lennox Linton did, is in fact declaring war on Dominica.
All right. Let me hear your thoughts on those comments, Mr. Christian.
Matt, when people are cornered and they're confronted by an irresistible truth. They act desperately and they say desperate things. What my good friend Vince Henderson has said is irresponsible and frankly out of place about declared war. So he would say that I declared war when we, back in 2011, 12 or 13 it was, when we went to the radio station in Washington and spoke to this issue. They demagogued us, they reviled us, they called us all kinds of names. But you know, the truth will out ultimately, and other people will ultimately see what is happening. Let me give you an example of I wouldn't even waste time with Tony Astafan. Tony Astafan is an irresponsible person in the things he says. He is very coarse, he insults people, and he does not appeal to reason, but makes incendiary statements that threatens violence on Dominique. And I hope he understands when the violence begins, the violence that he is urging, by calling people the names that he has called them. When it erupts, I hope he will take responsibility and it will be like the fire department to put the fire out that he has started. Because you see, I never go around calling people names and trying to excoriate people. I try to deal with the facts. What are the facts? I got a deposition. I got a transcript of the court hearing for the bond hearing for Lapsang. In that hearing, Matt, and I want all Dominicans to hear this, I was sent this by a U.S. attorney in New York. In that transcript, I'm reading that Lapsang is a Dominican diplomat and holds a Dominican diplomatic passport. Did you know that, Matt Peltier?
I heard talk about it, but I didn't have the evidence of that.
Where did you hear in Dominica, either in the Gazette, in the Parliament, on radio, that N.G. Lapsang was a Dominican diplomat? Where did you hear that?
I haven't heard that yet, no.
When did the Prime Minister, Roosevelt Skerritt or Henderson ever come on radio and say that they had appointed him a diplomat and when and for what purpose?
Haven't heard.
And that is the kind of thing that's going on in Dominica. When did you hear before her arrest by Scotland Yard in England that Duque had been appointed a Dominican diplomat?
We never heard that.
When did you see it in the newspaper, in the Gazette, or had it mentioned in Parliament?
No.
When did you know that she'd been, in fact, received as an applicant for that position and for what position, in fact, she was going to be employed?
I haven't heard.
So when Dominican people at home and abroad hear these things in the international press, after the fact, what should they believe? Should they believe those who have denied the truth of their actions in the public good while undertaking a public charge? Or should they believe that which has now been disclosed? And after the fact, the government and its apologists like Tony Astafan, Henderson and others come online and then try to make excuses. In any responsible country, the country where Prime Minister Skerritt has his 2 children born, you see it all the time on C-SPAN. You see it all the time on CNN. Dominicans are well-traveled. Dominicans have television. They have cable, I believe. They have internet. We see how it's done. Someone is proposed for a position. They review their resume. The Democrats ask them questions. The Republicans ask them questions. There may be even questions asked by public interest groups like the American Civil Liberties Union, by the NAACP, by the American Federation of Labor. All of these organizations, in addition to the Congress, exercises a degree of scrutiny. Congressional scrutiny and oversight, public scrutiny and oversight. Our government right now is on the abyss because it has lost credibility among a great number of Dominicans who are intelligent and who are well-meaning. It has increasingly lost the respect of Caribbean diplomats and diplomats here in Washington and in the region. And we have a responsibility as responsible Dominicans to call our government now to commit itself to a commission of inquiry led by a distinguished Caribbean jurist, which will be appointed by government with a member of the opposition on board, a qualified forensic auditor from the United States or a Commonwealth country on board, a professional, non-partisan professional representing the public sector or the non-governmental sector on board, and hold hearings in Parliament just like the Freedom Party government did at some point in time in the 90s when there was a bugging claim made by, I think, the UWP or something like that. Wasn't Tony Astafan, the lawyer, interrogating a gentleman called Gonzalez or something?
Yes.
Was that not done in public?
Yes.
Was that not in the Parliament or someplace like that?
You're right on cue.
Where has reason gone? Where are people like Rupert Serendo, Greg Onasif, Ivo Nassif, and all those paragons of virtue and those paragons of good governance? Where have their shame gone? That we will accept in Dominica that criminals will be in fact arrested, and at the time of the arrest, Max, the citizens of Dominica will discover from the arresting officers that those persons are holding a position of high trust. Do you know what a diplomat is, man?
Yes, I do.
Do you know why why is there a diplomatic passport given to a diplomat? Tell us.
Well, of course, for special privileges for travel.
They are more privileged than you and me, Matt. You and I have to go through customs. We have to be interrogated. Our bags have to be searched. But when you're a diplomat, you act on behalf of not yourself, Matt Peltier, or myself, Gabriel Christian, or what have you. You act on behalf of a nation. And so the immigration authorities give you that high privilege, and they wave you through. That is supposed to be the practice. Do you think that is going to continue for Dominica? Will we continue to have these scandals one after another?
Don't think so.
Do you think that Dominica is going to be enhanced in its credibility to ask for investment, to secure assistance, to secure partnerships, when in this moment this is the manner of operation of our government?
No.
Do you believe our people should accept, Matt Peltier, in the 21st century, in 2017, 30-some odd years after independence, that we do not know how many Dominican citizens there are who were not born in Dominica?
No.
What is a problem that this government has that refuses to be public in its actions, to be transparent and to be accountable to the people of this nation? Can you imagine that the independence we struggled for as children with Rosie Douglas is now under threat? That if there are 70,000 or 72,000 born Dominicans, there may be 10 or 20,000 non-born Dominicans. What does that mean for our society, Matt?
But well, pause there, Gabo. I mean, as you're asking these very important questions here, I want you to listen there to this segment on the CBS program, 60 Minutes, before we wrap up with you this afternoon. Just listen.
They're not transparent programs. They're not safeguards in place.
Until 2014, Peter Vincent was the top legal advisor for U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, part of the Department of Homeland Security, which he says is well aware of all the vulnerabilities. In fact, the person in line to take over Homeland Security, General John F. Kelly, expressed concern in a report last year that cash for passport programs could be exploited by criminals, terrorists, or other nefarious actors.
Does that present a security threat, do you think? It does. In my opinion, the global community has established a very effective global security architecture to prevent terrorist attacks. I see these cash for citizenship programs as a gaping hole in that security architecture.
How concerned are you, Gabriel Christian?
Matt, let me tell you something. We cannot be irresponsible. The fact is, we cannot run after the horse with any success when it is bolted the barn. How would we feel? How would you feel? How would Dominicans all over the world and in Dominica feel if someone perpetrated a terrorist act and was found to have had a passport issued by the government of Dominica? You know, I heard, I think Tony Astafan or somebody else write or say that, you know, when they appointed people like Maduke, they were sterling citizens. You know, when I heard the news of Matuke's arrest, I went like an ordinary citizen on the web, and I found evidence online that she was condemned in the public press in Nigeria as a crooked politician, a thief, a briber, and an embezzler. And that was years before her appointment. If, in fact, that is the quality of the due diligence that the governor of Dominica has done, woe be unto us, my friend, that I, who's not putting himself forward as a skilled investigator of that kind, can go online and in a cursory search find out information online about Alison Maduke that the government of Dominica missed. And that therein lies the issue. Look, we all know terrorism exists. We all know that people, if they're going to commit an act of terrorism, they're not going to come forward and tell you who they are. But this is what happens when you do not have safeguards. This is what happens when you don't have a government that is trustworthy or trusts the citizenry by doing right by them, that operates in secrecy. what is wrong? If everything is right, if everything Gregor Nassif, Sam Raphael, all the other government apologists say about the program is right, then why not have a commission of inquiry? The commission of inquiry will sit, evidence will be given, and at the end, if the government is perfect, as white as a driven snow, they will be given a clean bill of health. Maybe even the commission might recommend the changes to enhance the program. That's all we ask. We have suggested time and time again that Dominica will not be saved by filling passports. It can, in fact, have a program like the United States has, EB-5 program, that is run by Dominican civil servants, that is responsive to the Dominican Parliament, that is fully vetted, and that program can have the social impact on the ground that benefits the ordinary Dominican. Right now, the program is run in secrecy. Government cronies are the ones with the contracts, and other foreigners overseas who we do not know. And folks have been arrested. That is a fact. And none of the folks who come online and call for the assassination of Lennox Linton and call for the execution of people who criticize and call for people to be castigated as traitors and terrorists. None of that incendiary language, none of that irresponsible language, none of that regrettable language can save Dominica at this time. We are a member of CARICOM. A visa-free travel protocol exists for CARICOM. Our member countries in CARICOM now are looking askance at Dominica. St. Vincent is looking askance at Dominica. Jamaica is looking askance at Dominica. Guyana is looking askance at Dominica. People are very upset that there is that irresponsibility with regard to our government, and the only way now for us to assure the Dominican citizenry, our friends and allies overseas, and international community is for us to do that which is part of our long democratic position. Something that Tony Assefa, I'm sure, was paid to do during the Freedom Party regime when he was the, I think, lead interrogator in the Commission of Inquiry into something as simple as a bugging allegation. Here we have serious matters of state security, international security and diplomacy, the fate of our country as to who our citizens are and who our diplomats are, and we're being dismissed. Let it be known to all Dominicans that I communicate with the Prime Minister. I've tried to help our country. We've tried to aid our country by bringing diasporans not to vote, but to invest in Dominica, doing university partnerships, working with our young people in the cadet program. We're independent, responsible, Dominican, development-oriented nation builders. We are not here to cause turmoil and havoc. I wrote the Prime Minister. I copied it to Alec Lawrence. And I did that as friends when the program came out. And I did it because I thought, now the whole world knows, let me see whether I can speak some sense to brothers and that they will understand. They basically dismissed me and basically thought that I was talking nonsense without saying necessarily that word. And so I have no choice now but to speak publicly and let Dominicans know that Dominicans overseas, our friends and allies and major powers are concerned. And those countries will do what is in their own interest to do. And it will be up to us to deal with the reality of that fact. And no amount of attack on me, my family, my brother Sam, Lennox Linton, or other people in the media can stop the reality that Dominica now is in a shameful position. It's in a disgraceful position with the backward leadership we have, in the way they have destroyed our reputation in the international community by appointing the people they did, and how they have undermined a program which has value where it is properly run in a transparent and accountable manner.
That was Gabriel Christian from Washington, live here on Talk on the Block. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I have no doubt that he too will be under attack. Thompson Fountain is sitting here listening carefully. We have some new information coming up. Stick around. This is Talk on the Block. Somebody says Gabriel Christian has fire in his belly at this time. 1:30. Hello, talk to me. Are you there, caller? No, you're not. Let's take another phone call. Hello.
Matt, good afternoon to you and your listeners.
Yes.
The government of the day is supposed to be accountable to the people of the Commonwealth of Dominica. Passport should not be selling left, right, and center like that. We have a minister responsible for foreign affairs. She's silent on the matter. The Minister of National Security is silent on the matter. The Prime Minister is hopscotching on every issue. What is really happening in Dominica? We have to be concerned as citizens of the Commonwealth of Dominica.
All right, and of course you made that point there. Gabriel is calling for a commission of inquiry into this program. Hello.
My brother, blessings to you and thank you, Matt.
Yes.
Matt, thank you. I think you have done a lot. You have done so much, and we give thanks to you. Dr. Fountain and Lennox Linton. My brother, people have to put that little foolish partisan politics and look for the future of the country, the future of the children. How can we love, scare it, or labor more than Dominica? That is insane. And Gebu, my brother, thanks to you, my brother. Because I know that brother there for the past years I've listened to him. And I'm wondering how people like Gebu have not said nothing. And I was wondering what's up when I listen to what I'm listening to this afternoon there. Brother, I know that is a cause for concern from the time I heard what I heard on CBS. And what even before that, because I know Lennox Linton is a man of credibility, Dr. Thompson Fountain, and these guys, Afi, Matt, you, Matt, Carlisle will just come out and say, oh, look, we sing Medweke, Alison Medweke, Francesco Corralo and Angel Lapsing, and just make up stories. And that's what they're making the people of Dominica to believe, that people are just making up stories. And look, the U.S. Homeland Security are concerned. And they're talking about, oh, they're trying to destroy the Caribbean and they take away offshore banking. And these guys are not dealing with the issue rather than trying to instigate some kind of attack on Lennox Linton and Thompson Fountain. And thanks to everybody that refused to allow these honorable criminals to get away scot-free, my brother. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The very deep comments there by Gabriel Christian this afternoon. Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon, Matt.
Uh-huh.
And good afternoon, Dr. Fountain.
Yes.
Matt, there is a growing, trend now on the other radio station that when people bring out truth, they want to ask that they want to demean you and to castigate you and to bring.
They go after you personally.
Yes, but going after you personally doesn't solve the problem. The problem remains. And you know what I say? If Dominicans cannot see or hear, come on, we have our ears to hear, we have our eyes to see, and we refuse to see. How many times you have to bury your head in the sand to understand what is going on? Matt, the international world will deliver us, Let us play our hypocrisy there. Let us do as if we don't know what's happening. And not that defending. Every time someone brings out the truth about Dominica, instead these guys go and try to correct their mess, they only attacking. You can prevent it from saying. But Matt, you see the good work you do in the others. The opposition have said already. The opposition has done enough, it is evident now that this government needs to go. And the people must act now. It's not defending, not going to let things better. We have to stand up for Dominica because tomorrow Dominica is still our own to secure. And we cannot continue that defending and that nonsense attack. And these guys that are attacking people on the radio, when you're talking about nonsense. And they don't make no sense, But Mark, thanks for the opportunity. Have a good afternoon.
First, before we go over to Dr. Thompson Fountain, who's sitting by to release some very important information, we'll talk to Carlisle and find out what went on in the courts this morning, the magistrate's court, with this 4 men charged for murder. Carlisle, John Baptist, good afternoon.
Hi, Matt. Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to your many listeners. What I can say is that 4 men who include 2 St. Lucians and 2 Dominicans who have been arrested and charged with murder in connection with the death of Chris Blanc from Fonkouli are now on remand at the state prison after making a court appearance before a Rosa magistrate where the charge of murder was read to them. The 2 St. Lucians are Simba Mohammed Greenage and Ravin of Ravin Poisson and Gary Elwin Dari of Ancillary. The two Dominicans are Ronel Desiree of Girodel and Kimran Burke of Bath Estate. Burke and Greenage are represented by the law firm of Dyer, while Wayne Nordy is representing Dari and Joshua Francis is representing Desiree. The matter has been set for February 21, 2017. Gary Elwin Dare is also charged with possession of cannabis and possession to supply 148 grams of cannabis. He pleaded not guilty to those charges, and the matter was adjourned to March 20, 2017.
Can I just information coming to hand? I think the police is questioning one young man as we speak. There was some activity in the Gota community a short while ago. A lot of police officers were there and apprehended one man, and for questioning of the shooting that took place last night. My information is that the man there in Gota who was shot is hospitalized at this point in time, and the police investigate further. So one man was just apprehended and of course taken in police custody for questioning of that shooting that took place in Gota last evening.
Wow. However, Matt, things continue to happen, and I guess the police have all their guards up, and I really want to, whenever the police does well, you have to congratulate them. I do not know the circumstances. I do not know as it relates to the amount of information that they have. But like the police chief said that, I think he said last year that we had about 8 murders, and they were able to make, 10. And out of that, only 2 has gone unsolved thus far. But importantly, Matt, one of the things, though, you can make arrests, but getting convictions is the other thing. So yes, you can make arrests, but what about the convictions? That is very important. And the police chief was able to release the statistics as it relates to the amount of murders. I'm also asking the chief to also release the other statistics in terms of other crimes that would have been committed during 2016. I was trying to get what happened in 2015, and that was not forthcoming. That was the first time. So maybe since he has released the amount of murders, probably he can also release the rest, Matt.
Well, let's see how much information that the police chief is willing to release at this point in time. Again, what just coming to hand there that the police have one man in custody for the shooting incident last night of Babe. Babe is a very popular guy in the Gota village. A lot of people know him for selling bakes there. Bakes and cod fish, bakes and cheese. He's hospitalized at this time after receiving some gunshots, I imagine, to his back, from what I gather. Early reports indicate that he is lying there on the hospital bed. 1:39 is the afternoon time. Thompson Fontaine is in the house. More information coming forward. This is Q. Thompson Fontaine, interesting information coming there from Gabriel Christian there, huh?
Yes, Matt, good afternoon to you, and let me thank Gabe for coming forward at this time. I believe it is timely. It in a way kind of solidifies what we've been saying here all along, and I can never say it with the kind of eloquence that Gabe can, and Gabe did this afternoon, but I certainly want to thank him for standing up for what is right. And as he said, he's been doing it privately with the government. They are not hearing. They've kind of brushed him aside, and I think he's done the right thing by coming forward. Because I think it was Martin Luther King who said that what evil needs to triumph is for good people to remain quiet. And this is something where we cannot remain quiet. And I would like to make a special appeal, Matt, at this time to the liberates of this country. We know you like your party, you like your leader, but your leader or your party should not be above your country. If Dominica falls tomorrow, if Dominica goes under tomorrow, we all are going to suffer. Your children are going to suffer. You should always place your country above a leader. And I would like to appeal to them, this is not about party politics, This is about the salvation of our country. This is about the direction we want to see our country go. The fact of the matter is Dominica is right now a rogue state. Dominica has gone in a direction that no other country in the world has been willing to go, not even for the large amounts of payments that have been received. We are doing something now that has shamed Dominica to its core. We are doing something now that the rest of the world is not approving of. And we're talking about giving those diplomatic positions to individuals who turn out to be criminals and who were known at the time to be criminals. And as the CBS program highlighted and Gabe highlighted, when you have a diplomatic passport, that puts you in a special group of people. I mean, I go to the US 3-4 times a year, and when I get to the airport, I don't stand in line like everybody else because I have, by virtue of being a member of parliament, I have a diplomatic passport. There's a special line that you go to where 2 or 3 people, you actually use the same line that the pilots and the air hostesses use in those countries. So you bypass all of these long lines of people waiting to be processed. There's a certain privilege that goes with it, and you expect that the people who hold those passports are people of good repute, people that are above board. But that's not the case. We have appointed a core of diplomats in this country that were not supposed to be there in the first place, but they were put into that position by becoming diplomats. And to become a diplomat, to hold the position of ambassador, you must be a citizen of that country. So it means that everywhere we've had those diplomatic appointments being made for ambassadors, these individuals would have had to have a Dominican passport. They would first have to become Dominican citizens. So in the case of Bosing, which is what I wanted to bring forward, Matt, to the Dominican public, because people say about where is the proof? Here is an example of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs writing to a foreign government to appoint a particular individual to be Dominican's ambassador. Now we know that in order for you to be asked to be ambassador, you have to be a citizen. So based on this letter written in 2004, we know for a fact that Bosing was already a Dominican citizen. Now, who is this Bosing? Let me read the letter first, and I will tell you who this Bosing is. This letter from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, it reads, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Marketing of the Commonwealth of Dominica presents its compliments to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ireland and has the honor to request agrément for the appointment of Mr. Serge Roger de Thibault de Bosing as ambassador of the Commonwealth of Dominica to Ireland. The ministry has the further honor to enclose herewith the curriculum vitae of Mr. Serge Roger de Thibault de Bosing. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Marketing of the Commonwealth of Dominica avails itself of this opportunity to renew the assurances of its highest consideration. Now here it is, this government of Dominica, through its ministry, asking for agreement. Basically, before you appoint an ambassador, the country has to agree to accept this individual. So that is the first step to that person being accepted. You can't just send them as an ambassador. The country that they're going to must agree. And that's why it's called a letter of agreement. So that is what the ministry was sending as a final stage to accept. Now, who is Serge Bosing? A simple computer search would reveal that Serge Bosing, at the time this letter was done in 2004, he was 76 years old. 76 years old. But not only that, man, he was a Nazi. The Nazis, the guys who persecuted the Jews in Israel, who sent the Jews to the gas chambers, who killed millions of Jews, who under Hitler destroyed the world. This man gave allegiance to Hitler. Not only that, Matt, the evidence is there on the if you just done a simple search under his name. He was sent to jail in Belgium in 1984. He spent 5 years in a Belgian jail because he was the ringleader of a gang that raided banks in Belgium. The man is a bank robber, a Nazi and a bank robber.
And the evidence is right there.
The evidence is there. A simple search on the internet would reveal that, because it is still there. If you look at the date time, the dates those news reports were there when it was actually happening, it is there on the internet. And yet this gentleman is being put forward as our ambassador because he would have paid a significant sum of money to the government of Dominica for his diplomatic passport. And that is why I would like to join with Gabe in calling for this commission of inquiry, because we need to know who are these people, how much did Bo Singh pay to Mr. Skerrit for his diplomatic passport? How much was he promised? How much did he pay? We need to know those things. This is not some simple something that Skerrit can do on the side. This is matters of public interest. And that is why I'm making a special appeal to the people that still support the Roosevelt Skerrit administration that's on this particular issue to really stand up for your country. We need to make a choice now. Either we stand up for the Commonwealth of Dominica and for what is right and what is righteous, or we stand for what is crooked and what is ill about this country. And I think it's time that people make that decision. So that is one of the letters that I had, Matt. Another one that I would like to point to give you some idea as to how this whole thing is actually done, is a letter that we received from another gentleman by the name of Chen. This gentleman was interested in being the High Commissioner to Hong Kong. So he writes a letter to Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit. And I'll just read part of the letter. I won't, because it's a very lengthy letter, but there's something that comes after I want to point out. So he writes a letter on the 19th of June 2009, and he says, "Dear Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, it is my honor to introduce myself to you and to attach a copy of my CV for your reference. I have noted with great interest and sympathy the efforts that the Commonwealth of Dominica has made under your leadership in developing the country and to provide a better life for its people. In particular, Prime Minister, you had the wisdom to see the logic and inevitability of the One China policy, and hence the boldness and vision to establish diplomatic relations with the People's Republic of China. Since that landmark decision, the relations between the Commonwealth of Dominica and China have actively developed on good terms and for mutual benefit. As you know, Prime Minister, China continues to develop very fast despite the challenges of the global and so on and so forth. I can skip that because it's a very lengthy letter. I want to come to the part. As you're aware, it says Hong Kong still remains in many respects the gateway to China, a regional and international hub, and a center for banking, trade, and investment by the global Chinese community. All right, and it goes on. I want to read the other part. It's a very lengthy letter, Madam. I know we don't have a lot of time, but I want to come to the part. It says there that after he talked about Hong Kong, he said, "I would be greatly proud and honored to serve your country in this capacity, and with this letter to be considered as my formal application to you in this regard." Okay, so here it was, this Cheng gentleman working for a company, and then he goes on to say what this company does, for a company called the Business Commission Company. And guess what, Matt? Just 3 weeks after writing this letter, we have proof. Just 3 weeks after writing this letter, we have the proof that Cheng sends a transfer, and the transfer is there. It does not go to the Prime Minister. Let me just be very careful about that. It actually goes to Hartley Henry. Hartley Henry, you will recall, at that time was the Prime Minister's chief advisor. A check, a money transfer of $50,000 through a bank in the United States, going to Hartley Henry 3 weeks after a gentleman wants to be appointed as Dominica's High Commissioner to Hong Kong.
Another diplomatic passport.
Another diplomatic passport, another position. You know, and Matt, this is what is so hurtful about this whole thing. And as we said, you know, and to make matters worse, when your foreign minister refuses, on a question from the opposition, refuses to tell the Dominican public just who their ambassadors are, this is the height of disrespect. And I think just on that alone, the foreign minister should have resigned her position. Because it cannot be that you're responsible ultimately for appointing those diplomats, and you cannot report to the Dominican public who our diplomats are when you've issued probably hundreds of diplomatic passports. Who are these people? I just by gradually looking at the web, I came across a Jonathan Brown, a businessman in Florida. He has a website. All he has is the coat of arms of Dominica, the flag of Dominica, Jonathan Strong, ambassador at large to Dominica. Another ambassador, a businessman in Florida. We need to know, Matt. And
we need to know. Well, let's take a few phone calls. This is Talk on the Block. We're taking a break and we're coming back after this.
There's no such thing as a freelance.
Last week was super, this week will be exceptional. Stadium Tent in collaboration with headline sponsor DG Cell present Kaiso Stingray. This is Saturday, January 21 at the Strip in Lale Coco. 8:30 p.m. Featuring the clash of the sexes, men against women. Tasha P against Carissa, Janae against Hunter, Stingray against Checker, Nasha against Observer, Alicia against Daddy Chess, Dale against Hunter, Lady V versus DBS. Also Web, Shadow Flow, Lucas Comforter, Crispy, Jammer B, Peaky, Irvine Jr., Omi, Healer, Stefan.
I love you.
Also Genius, JD, Hixie, Son of the State Intruder, Dino, be your trendsetter. Love J this Saturday at the Strip in Lale Coco. Backed by the Swinging Stars, MCs, Powell and Lady Star. Entrance $20. Partners include Karen Beer, Big Ed, Soccer, and Domlek, Dominican National Lotteries, Mania 7-Eleven, and Milan's Grill. Mapao, Petro Caribbean Courts, Vibes Radio, Fight for Sing, SCS, Q95 FM, The Signman, Zionist Visual Ads, KO FM, DBS Radio, Mapping to KFD, and one more.
Only way this time.
This Saturday, January 21, at the Strip Lale Coco, Stadium, Puerto.
Get ready for the Caribbean's most original carnival, Dominica's Carnival, Mass Dominic 2017, February 4th to the 28th. Revel in the splendor of a masquerade band. Experience the parade, the non-stop fets, Dominica Nights, Dominique Do, Mass Dominic, the real mass. Come, revel with us. Visit us online at dominicafestivals.com or call us at 767-255-8221.
Get the fastest home internet on island from Digicel Play with speeds 3 times faster than the competitor, plus over 60% savings. Pay only $89 monthly for 8 megabytes internet with Digicel Play. Sign up with a sales representative in your community or call 616-1600 or 616-1700. Experience the fastest home internet with Digicel Play. Digicel terms and conditions apply.
All right, let's take a few phone calls before we wrap it up here on Talk on the Block. This is Monday, January 16th. Talk to me.
Matt, I heard that they're going to Parliament to set up a public disorder act.
Yes, I heard that this morning.
You heard that?
Yeah.
It seems like they know what is coming up, Matt. So guess what? The people have no right to stand up and resist that level of abuse where our passports are concerned as nationals of a country. Why, Matt, let us sleep still.
Yes, I heard that. Very interestingly this morning, the new Public Order Act is expected to be more comprehensively addressing public order situations and to bring all public order legislation more closely aligned with that of other jurisdictions in the region and internationally. That was the Attorney General speaking this morning. I was just quoting Mr. Levi. Hello, talk to me.
Matt, good afternoon. How you doing, man?
My brother, how you doing?
What's great, man? Matt, you saw the mass in the cemetery, what they placed on their what do you call it, the timeline?
Yes, I've been doing some investigations on that, but it said, according to what I'm picking up, this was more associated to general elections, unless you have more information.
Yeah, no, that's I just wanted to just bring that to your attention because I'm just following now on Facebook and social media of the amount of materials and money that was given to the Lapland people for the elections that passed in the general elections.
Yes, that's what I'm picking up. But I'm following that story more closely, and as soon as I get information, I'll be sharing that with you. But from what I gather, these numbers are more associated with general elections than the Lapland Village Council elections. 155, hello.
Good evening, Matt.
Good afternoon, sir.
Matt, what we need, we do not need an inquiry. What we need is an investigation, Matt. An investigation where people will be charged and brought to court after. We can get Scotland Yard, we can get the Canadian Mounted Police, we can get the FBI, we can get CIA, we can get Homeland Security to investigate these criminals. Matt, where is the...
Well, I'll tell you what, to bring Homeland Security in and FBI and Scotland Yard, you need the approval of my brother, of the Prime Minister, of the government. That's the problem right there. Thank you very much. Let's move on to 156.
Gentlemen, good afternoon, the listening public. I would just like to congratulate all the people that played one part or the other in that CBI to burst that bubble. My stomach aches. Oh my God. I said there was a light in the tunnel, and trust me, God is in control. Thank you very much.
God is definitely in control. Hello.
Yes, good afternoon, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm calling on the Commissioner of Police to arrest Roosevelt Skerritt. If he don't do it, I'm calling on every Dominican to hit the streets in massive demonstration to get Roosevelt Skerritt out of power. Because this man is playing the ass in Dominica.
What's your language? I won't allow you to say that. Hello, talk to me. Hi.
Matt,
yes.
for Homeland Security and FBI to be there, the people of Dominica need to go out in large numbers to the polls and remove a corrupt regime. And then we will investigate them and put them behind bars for what they have done to the people and the resources of the country.
Thank you very much. Let's move on. Take another call. Hello.
Good afternoon, Matt Peltier.
My brother, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to your listening public.
Uh-huh.
Matt, you know, with all this CBI thing, Matt, and they're claiming, Matt, that the CBI is separate from the diplomatic passport, which we all understand and agree, Matt. But, Matt, you know what I'm not hearing about, Matt? Where an officer in the CBI, senior responsible person at the CBI office, attempted to deposit $1.5 million cash in a local bank. And when he was asked the source of it, he said passport money. Now, Matt, that begs the question, Matt, what happened to all the due diligence that is being done? Is there due diligence being done on the collection of the money, of who collects the money, Matt? Matt, when this certificate of citizenship is issued, Matt, who verifies that the money has in fact been collected and who has the money? Matt, there is supposed to be a financial intelligence unit in Dominica, Matt. And if that was the case, and my understanding is that either the money was either withdrawn quickly after or not deposited at all, why did the institution not file a suspicious activity report?
That's a very important question, and I suspect I don't have the answer, but I'm sure that the authorities are listening and it will investigate further. Thompson Fontaine, we have a few seconds. We have to wrap it up.
Yes, Matt, just to let our listeners know that if they look on the Facebook page of Hector John, they will find out a lot more information is there on the different diplomatic postings, and we certainly want to just again encourage people to speak up. It is time to speak out for your country, and I hope that they will in fact continue to do so.
Thank you very much, Thompson Fontaine. Our next stop here, the Digicel Hour.